We're here with Ricky Armstrong Rojas after a very successful weekend of getting, 7th place in Swiss after all 11 rounds.
Yeah.
And actually dominating the alarm clock this morning and getting out of bed, unlike Sebastian Sanchez, who probably could have topped with you, but sadly did not. So you got 7th place after Swiss, and you were playing what?
Yeah, so I played Tearlament's Byssted. Just kind of like the Boogeyman deck. Everybody knew it was really good. I decided to make a few different tech choices from everyone else. So everybody seemed to be playing board breakers and more combo cards, and I just liked a lot of defensive cards, so that's what I did. That's what worked for me all day. I lost one match in Swiss to Ryan Levine round 5 because I'm horrible at Yu-Gi-Oh! And then I conceded to Cody in the last round of Swiss because we were both locked no matter what, and I wanted to go get food. I didn't feel super great. And then in Top Cut, I lost to Christopher LeBlanc, who, shout out to him, congratulations to him. He ended up winning the whole event. Game 3, I drew triple Magnamu, a spell card and trap card that didn't do anything, going first. So, sucks that I bricked, but I'm happy that at least...
I think it was just his weekend, because the same thing happened to a couple of others' opponents where just they just straight up break. It was just meant for him.
Yeah, I'm really happy that he won. So, really cool guy. So, shout out to him. And I have a few more shout outs I just want to throw out there real quick before we start. Shout out to Michael Baker, Liam, and Hobby. Those are like my 3 main, and Fletcher, Ryan Fletcher. Those are like my 4 main testing partners. That's who I get most of my ideas from. That's who I run my ideas by. And then also shout out to my Bible study, Team Bible Study, the Bible Study Discord. To Jake, Trevor, Omar, and Lyric, a new addition who also got top.
Are you not there, champ? Is it that long?
Yeah, it's pretty long. Shout out to Lyric, who also got top 32 with Extra Sister. And then shout out to the whole Tampa community. Everybody who came with me. Alejandro, Donnie, Sanchez, Melvin, Steven, and shout out to Donnie. He got injured, so we're praying that he's okay. So
I came with you.
You did come with me.
Yeah,
I just shouted you out.
Oh, okay.
Twice.
Okay, sorry.
Alrighty. Let's get into that profile.
Fair enough.
So I started with 3 Rhino Heart.
Oh, flip him around, champ.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. So I started with 3 Rhino
Fair
Heart.
enough. Okay, come on.
3 Sharon.
All right, you can skip past these. We know what it is.
3 Merly.
Yep. Just make a square.
3 Hovness.
Yeah.
And then I played
We're on 3 suitcases.
Lazy, Cartesia, and Albion.
It's a 4-star and 4.5-star hotel. They don't have an end table in here.
The only supplementary engine I played to the tier monsters was the Brandon and High Spirits engine. I don't know, people started saying halfway through the tournament this engine sucked. I thought it was great until I drew it with no tier monster, a game 3 of top 32. So fuck those cards. And then
He's actually throwing them.
I played Scream, Instant Fusion, Terraforming. Yo, Instant Fusion loves me, no cap. I drew this card way too much. And then Triple Planet. Those are the only spells I played. I didn't play any defensive spells. I only played offensive spells in my main deck. So, yeah. And then I played...
He's not throwing the parallel.
No, I like Pillars.
Yeah.
Double Celiac. It's the only engine trap card I played. I also played a High Rate Draw, which is kind of like a defensive card, but this was my Mystic Mine out. I didn't play the Tearlament spell because that card fucking sucks. So this card actually does something when it's milled, and it's not just good for Mystic Mine, it's good for other scenarios. Whenever you mill it in your turn 1 combo, you usually just make Kaleido Heart, and your board is impossible to beat. Because even if you get Dark Ruler or Super Poly or evenly matched, this card just helps you play through it. So, and then onto the defensive cards, I played a bunch of them. So I played 3 Magnamu, Druisworm, and Lubellion. So the reason for this ratio is so that way when you play against tier and you draw a Magnamu, you can, on their turn 1 Magnamu, banishing one of their monsters, search Lubellion, discard Lubellion, search a second Magnamu, special that second Magnamu, and that guy can search your Druisworm, and also make a rank 6. So in theory, this card was really good. In practice, it was a little bit worse. I kind of wish that I played a bigger Byssted engine because all these cards were just so powerful with how much tier was in the room. So if I had to change something, I would either bump the ratio up significantly and play way more Byssted cards, or I would bump it down by 1 and just play the 4. It felt like this was out of place without any of the Byssted spells and traps, the brand spells and traps, sorry. So I wouldn't play this card in the future unless I was playing a bigger engine. But it was fine for this weekend, especially when people didn't know you were playing it. It kind of helped your engine and helped you power through. And then the MVPs of the weekend, by far, bro. 3 Ash, 3 Droll, 3 Imperm. This card won me way too many games. I played against Elijah Green is the notable one where he had to enter his battle phase to try to evenly me. So when he runic tipped afterwards, I drolled him and he just passed turn with absolutely nothing. This card was so good for me all weekend. I played against only Tier and only Sprite, which hilariously enough, this card was in here for Exosister and for Flunder. So I didn't actually play either of those decks at all, but it performed fantastically. So it was a great meta call for the tournament. Going forward, I don't know if this is going to be super good in the main deck if people expect it more. I do think there were actually a lot of people in Top Cut who were maining this card, so I think it'll become a more expected trend. And then, yeah, Ash and Imperm. Ash was fantastic. Shout out to Ryan Fletcher entirely for this meta call. Ash is one of those cards that I think gets more powerful the less that people think that you're playing it, which is something that he said verbatim, so I'm just stealing his quote. But the amount of times that your opponent would search Sharon to try to play her on Imperm and then try to discard Merly or Havnis, and then you chain Ash Blossom, and you would see their face just like fucking crumble. They didn't know what to do. Ashing Brandon in High Spirits was really good. And just ashing like Sprite Starter. There were so many cards that I felt super good. Ash was fantastic. Yeah, all the hand traps were super good. I wish I could play more, but I just can't fit them. I played 40 cards. I didn't play more. You want to see your tier names in a Brandon in High Spirits as much as possible. Only twice the whole tournament did I see Brandon in High Spirits without a tier name. One of those games was in top 32, unfortunately, and the other one, I ended up like I had 4 hand traps along with Brandon in High Spirits, so I was able to stall for a turn when I drew Pearl Areno and play after that. So yeah, overall the main deck was pretty good. The Lubellion is the one card I change, and I guess Scream, I didn't talk about it enough, but Scream was pretty good. You need to play 1 because 1 does come up for the turns where you make Kaleido Heart plus Baron and you pop your Kaleido Heart with the Baron to send the Scream to search the trap card. That did come up twice in the tournament, so shout out to Michael for that one. He's the one who pointed that out as I was submitting my deck list. I didn't have that in there, so for sure I would play 1. If you're playing a more combo heavy build with Sprites, for example, you can probably play more, but 1 worked out well for me. And then shout out to Steven. That's my son token. And then for the extra deck, I played the 3 necessary Link monsters. Sprite was fantastic. Sprite was a fantastic addition to the deck. It added way more power to this deck than it did to the Sprite deck. I mean, setting him early is way better than 2 more bodies, so it was super good. And then all of the fusion monsters, I think these were all mandatory. I tried to find one to cut, but I just couldn't. Yeah, these were all super good. They all came up. And then the XCs. So the XCs, I played Dweller, Redoer, Beatrice, and Zeus. Zeus was fantastic all weekend. I made this card, I think 5 times, which was way more than I thought I would in testing. And Beatrice and Redoer both had their moments. I think these 2 cards are like an auto-include mandatory because the way that you break their Dweller boards is you Dweller them back and then you break their board with Zeus. But for these 2 cards, I would really like to cut one of them for Verguska, but they both came up enough for I'm not sure which one to cut. So that's kind of something that I'd have to think about in the future. But, you know, if you want to play Baguska, if there's a lot more Sprite and Flunder at your locals, then you're more than welcome to. And then Baron. I made this card a lot. When you hard draw the Cartesia as well, you make it. And on your turn 3, when you mill a bunch of cards, you're usually adding a Brandon in High Spirits back. So if you cycle the Lulacros back, you just make it on your turn 3 as well. So it comes up a lot. And then for the side deck, 1 Garaga Cowboy. I really like the XC Zera and what they have to add to the game, so I felt like a miss if I didn't play 1 XC Zera card in my extra deck. There's no other reason why I played this card. It was just pure nostalgia. So please don't ban me. And then I played Harpy's Feather Duster and 3 Lightning Storm. So in theory, these were really good against Runic Sprite. I played against 1 Runic Sprite the whole tournament. I beat him game 1, and then he made me go first. So these actually barely came in. But if I thought there was going to be more Runic Sprite, and I think there was a decent amount, I just didn't play against it. So, and also it's for Flunder and Exosister. These cards just FTKs them, so it's really good. And then I played 2 talents. So I kind of wanted a generic going second card for decks like Adventure Sprite or the more pure Sprite build, and this card just always pot agreed against them. I used the hand rip effect once in the feature match that if you saw that against David Urpin. Huge shout out to him, fantastic guy. We ended up hanging out the whole weekend. I really like him. So I ended up using this against him, ripped his hand, and then when I had the droll that I had in my opening hand, I saw that I didn't need to overcommit and make a big board. So yeah, talents is pretty good. And then I played a really weird hand trap ratio. I played 2 Bell, 1 Veiler, and 2 Druid Worm. So the reason I played this ratio is because I wanted to bump up to 21 hand traps after side decking versus tier. So I wanted 5 hand traps that were good versus tier, but I also wanted enough cards versus Flunder and Sprite where I didn't want to side Bell in against those decks. So I had one flex spot that I could work with that I needed to be good against tier and everything else. So I ended up on Valor. In hindsight, I think I would have just played a third Bell because I didn't think I needed any more help with my Sprite matchup. I thought the Dex engine was just powerful enough against pure Sprite that I didn't really need help. So I probably would just cut this for a third Bell. But everything's changing in 2 weeks. You're playing.
Yeah, you said you didn't encounter XSS or Flunder whole entire tournament.
It was really disappointing. I played against 3 Sprite players, and the rest of my matchups were tier mirrors.
What a dream!
Yeah, so it was really disappointing. I kind of wish I had played against more rogue decks. I feel like my deck was really well prepared for those. 3 Tikaboo. These are really good in theory, but I played against Sprite, and I 2-0'd all of them. So I didn't really get to decide this card in. It kind of sucked. Also, I won 3 dice rolls between all 12 rounds. So the deck is really good going second when you know what you're doing. Yeah, I think that's it. I already did all my shout outs, but I want to shout out once again the general Tampa community. Everybody gave me so much support, so thank you to you guys. Shout out to Minneapolis and all the many people I met here. Everybody was super nice. Yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Looking forward to what you can do in the future.
Absolutely.